Pure Mayhem. Welcome, everybody, to Pure Mayhem.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to a new episode of Mayhem and Master Plans. It's a show with hot questions and even hotter wings. No, I'm joking. I love that kind of catchphrase. But yeah, as you all know, that's the start from each episode from the
Hot
famous
Ones.
show Hot Ones. Yes. Welcome, Simon. Welcome, Andreas.
Thank you.
How is it going?
It is going
good.
Yes, it is going good.
We have to plan our maybe a live session on that conference, right? In Munich.
We can do a live podcast, of course.
And maybe
I
there
agree.
we can make a sample or feature from Hot Ones, or is there a trademark on it? So
no, there's a Hot Ones Germany now. There's a Hot Ones Germany.
we can do our own Hot Ones.
What do you expect? Do you want to sample the hottest mustards that they have there in Bavaria or something, or what do you want to do?
For example,
actually, they do have some hot ones there. That's
yeah,
they do. Anyway, before we get into the mustard talk,
yes,
I have a topic I would love to discuss with you. Well, first of all, it's football season. It's starting off again. So
American football
is starting off again, which was quite entertaining. I have to say, a few very interesting games. Nice to follow. They're doing a good job. But one topic that I've been kind of like thinking about for a while now is having fun at work. So like it kind of feels like everybody is in this constant feeling of oh my god.
You mean us or
no? I mean in general, like people are.
You mean
society?
Like
society, people, the establishment. No, and to me, it's like, why does it have to be this way? Of course, there's a ton of things happening, and that I can appreciate that this is happening, and we kind of have to like deal with it. This is the life we're in right now. This is the reality we're in right now. But it feels like people kind of take that and then like put it over everything in their life and turn it into something negative, and work for a lot of people seems like something that is a chore, that is something I have to do, I don't want to do, and I always wonder, like, why does it have to be this way? And then the people that aren't like that are in the mode of like, okay, this is more than just an occupation. They are also in a mode where it's like, hey, I'm taking this like super serious. You cannot have fun with it, and I want to bring fun back to work. I want to bring
fantastic. That sounds great. I will say one thing. I'm not going to take your bait. We're not going to talk about occupation. That's my pet peeve in that word, and I know you were trying to trick me. So we're not going to talk about that.
But that's a good point, because occupation is a thing that, especially in Germany, a lot of people kind of like go into and communicate it as this being an occupation, whereas like
get me started.
Exactly, but so it's something. So we're kind of like we're traveling in two worlds, right? We're traveling in the world of, or now we're in three different worlds. So we're seeing how the business world in Spain works, how it works in the US, and how it works in Germany, as we're all Germans. But now we kind of like had the experience of other places, and you two living in other places, and so. With that in mind, yes, it is kind of like not just seeing it as an occupation, but I kind of, Andreas Herb from MBG, he always talks about work-life blending, where he's not like, we don't need work-life balance, we need work-life blending, where you kind of like try to mix business with pleasure in a way where it's kind of like try to do something where your work becomes fun again.
But he's in a unique position, right? He has a really good so a company which makes profit, which a huge amount of revenue, and he's in the restaurant and event business, right? So where every second
But yeah,
business
okay.
meeting is on a party or in a restaurant or related to party or restaurant. So
But
Yeah,
so
I, I
let me get to that because we're not in that space, and so do you think that thesis that I'm putting up, that what can I have fun at my job? Can any job be fun? Can any job be exciting and be something that excites you, or is it just something that is something that only very privileged people can talk about? And I'm not
I,
talking about you have to kind of like
I
cut
think you.
stone into like little pieces, into little rocks.
No, 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 no,
Not
no.
that.
I do think that you can have fun or at least draw a certain kind of satisfaction out of nearly any job. Perhaps not every single job. But I remember the time when right after school when I graduated from high school in Germany, you still had to do mandatory service, either military service or a civil substitute. And I opted to drive ambulances. I worked as an EMT. And a lot of EMT shifts throughout the day are not actually emergency shifts, but they are transport shifts. So especially the service kids basically that we were very often did the menial jobs of driving people to doctor's appointments or transporting somebody from one hospital to another and that kind of thing. And very often that wasn't a great job. The patients oftentimes were not in great shape or were actively hostile and not happy with their setting and what was going on. And sometimes it was dirty work. But I think if you have the mindset of I'm providing a service to this person in front of me right now. And if that service takes half an hour of me picking you up at home and, getting you to your doctor's appointment and making sure that you're as comfortable and as safe as we can both do, I think that works. And you can absolutely draw satisfaction out of those bits and pieces, even though other people on that same team chose to see it as a nuisance, as this terrible, terrible job that they had to do that was just weighing on them and dragging them down and all of that. And I just chose to look at it differently, and it worked quite well for me. So my theory is you can, to some extent, make it your own, right?
Simon, what are
yeah,
your thoughts?
so I have several thoughts. So I agree with Andreas. But for example, when I entered the business world, I was 16, and I did a job. What is it? Training or training on the job. 3 years in a print house, and I was there with, or I met other colleagues there. Most of them were family fathers. I think in their 40, 50. And with some I had a really good connection, and yeah, we were really we so even though I was very young, I had a good connection, for example, to 50-year-old family fathers, right? And they did.
You were an old soul.
And they did and yeah, and what I observed there was that or what I observed at myself was, although the job I liked a lot, and also I liked the colleagues, or some of the colleagues, it was really for me as a 16 years old. It was in the end after the 3 years, it was really for me horrible to walk into that print house, and it was horrible to think about. Okay, so my colleague is here, walks in that print house every morning since 25 years or 25 years, and it was shift work, right? So and it was on a machine. So the only thing what we had to do was preparing the machine, observing the machine, and so it was really a basic job. Not it wasn't really highly sophisticated or interesting, right? It was cool to print the job and to prepare the machine, but nothing too spectacular, and also without any variety, right, in the task. And it was really so when I thought about, okay, I have to walk in here for my next 30 years, so I was instantly depressed. So I cannot see that I walk in here 30 years and do the same, right? The only thing will change is maybe every 5 years a new colleague, but all the other colleagues I don't like, or I didn't like at that point. They were also there since 15, 20 years, and it was clear that they will be there in 15, 20 years as well. And yeah, so that was really not cool.
I think that's a really important point, though. So job satisfaction is a mindset question, right? I can choose to want to like this. I can choose to hate this. And what you're describing, especially in young years, right? If you're 16, 17, if you're in your 20s, this notion of, oh my God, this is the final thing and I'll be doing this for the rest of my life can be daunting. Knowing and really understanding that you can make a choice, you can pick up and leave nearly any time. You can, maybe if you can't do it right away at the drop of a hat, you can plan for it and engineer that. I think is really important for many people to not feel stuck in anything. This notion of being able to say, this is temporary as long as I choose it to be.
Yeah.
And I can renegotiate this or make other choices at any given point in time. I think that is super important. At the same time, I also want to really acknowledge the people who find a lot of peace and solace in this idea that they can stay in this job forever, that they have something that they can trust and depend upon and don't have to think about, the possibility of having to switch jobs at some point in time. Part of me envies such people, because I don't think that way. I don't find peace in this idea of this is the final box that I'll ever be in.
Me neither.
Well, there's people,
but I really
that
do want to acknowledge them, right?
So I think there's a point to what you both said. The mandatory service that I have to do, and the people that didn't like it. The good thing is you have to do it for 1 year, and then with that, you kind of being forced to do something which for a lot of people isn't the right thing to do, because you kind of realize, and I did it too, and I enjoyed the job.
What did you do?
I was working with a student sitting in a wheelchair.
Right, I remember you told us once.
And then that was a lot of fun. But it is one thing, you do something that's very much out of your comfort zone that not a lot of people choose, and it was the thing that gave me two perspectives on life. The one thing is, I get the satisfaction out of creating my own things and not by helping others, which is a realization which is good for you to understand that, like, do I want to create something on my own, or do I take a lot of energy out of doing something for others? Not in a way that being selfish, but what works related it. And then the second thing is, by being in that position, you get a very good view of how other people in society live, and you become very mindful of your surrounding and of the people around you, even to this day, to think of like small things like don't stop when you exit a subway. Make sure that you don't stop in the middle of the street, because there might be somebody with a walking disability or somebody in a wheelchair behind you that is not able to kind of like navigate the way you would. So be mindful of your environment. But so the people being stuck in that for 1 year, having that realization is like, this is not what I want to do, and I don't like it, is a good way of like a starting point of like figuring out what you want to do. And it's the same with Simon, because it wasn't the right thing for you, so you moved on, which makes a lot of sense. And then there's people that it's like this is the right thing. They wanted to kind of like get there, and of course they're going to have a very different experience to yours. And another point to your story is, interestingly enough, I have a bit more contact to your cousin now, and as you know, he became he went into the printing industry as well, and he did that because of you, because he saw what you were doing, and he
It's
said,
the
"Wow."
family business.
Yeah, but he was seeing what Simon was already making a lot of money at this young age in a job that seemed like, it's not too crazy of work, and then compared to other jobs that I could do, you make a ton of money right from the beginning. So it also is a very different perspective to other people. He moved on to do something else, but having that experience kind of like gets you to a starting point. But
And I think that's actually also really important to acknowledge, right? People have a choice to do a job that fulfills them, where the job itself fulfills them. We all, the three of us, strive for that and try to do that with our lives. But it is equally okay to choose to do a job, to rent your time and abilities out, to get paid, to pay for your life.
yeah,
It is
exactly,
totally
100%.
okay
Yeah.
to work so that you can have a life during the rest of the time.
My hobby is work, so I sometimes feel like, well,
I
it's weird that I say this,
yes,
but this is kind of like my hobby. Like I don't go mountain biking.
but
I
that's the thing.
enjoy my work.
Building the right culture in a company that acknowledges these differences and different motivations
Yeah.
requires a little bit of expertise and a little bit of foresight and a sensibility that, in all honesty, most startup founders don't have. And that is one of the reasons why a lot of startups, when it gets to scaling, they have such big trouble, because hiring the right kinds of people and then managing this wide range of humans and their motivations is beyond their expertise and beyond their abilities, while they still need to focus on all these other things that you as a
Because you
startup
might not
founder have
have
to do.
worked in a big company where you had all those people there, where it wasn't always like we're a happy big family, where
True.
you like
True.
the moment you start working for an organization that has more than 10,000 people,
Mhm.
it will be a very good kind of like representation of society, and not everybody is in board with what you do. So, if
Absolutely.
you're in a team of 20, you can manage to kind of get everybody in the same mindset and kind of like pick and choose who you want to have on board. And then you can do, I don't know, get hammered every night and play Mario Kart and say, this is our company, which I don't think is a very healthy relationship to your business and your colleagues. But the moment you get to a bigger level, and it probably is less than 10,000, it is probably at like 500 already,
Oh, absolutely.
or even less. You will have to manage exactly that. And if you never had that experience of
Mhm.
either being in a situation where you did a job for, just getting where you want to go,
Mhm.
or having people in your team that you kind of need to motivate otherwise. I see startup founders, definitely, like if you're very young and not experienced and haven't worked in different settings, it's going to be tough for you to kind of like know that. Where would you want to know, like where would you know it from? But
Exactly.
now we're
I
talking
think
about big picture. I want to get
yes.
into the day-to-day, because even though,
Mm.
let's say, we all found our dream jobs, what we want to do. I always said I want to be a manager and I want to be the boss. You know,
You're the
I
boss.
exactly. I'm the intern, but I'm also the boss. So I kind of did that.
Sometimes you're managing, sometimes you're not,
Exactly.
you know?
But I got where, like, and doing this. So I would assume we're all in a place where we enjoy what we do. But
Hashtag winning.
Um, he came out with a new biography, by the way.
Oh God. Who?
Memoirs. Like Charlie Sheen just came out with a new
Okay.
memoir, where people were saying like probably the stuff that, like, he's probably one of the few people where everybody in the world knows more about him than he can remember. Right? But never mind. But um so on a day-to-day basis, there's stuff like, because I had this last week, they were like, you had to go and fill out like SAP stuff. You had to do like taxes, and you had to do stuff with your like insurance and
were you successful with the SAP? Important question.
I'm not sure yet. Not sure. It's an
SAP
ongoing
Ariba.
process.
Okay.
It's an
The
ongoing
feedback
process.
loop is also
The
quite
feedback
long.
loop takes quite a bit, so you never really know for sure. Like it's like and
Is it like the feedback loop where I once got a ticket from some police department in Bavaria? They sent me a paper ticket to my home in New York from when I was speeding, and then I emailed them back saying this wasn't me or I'm not going to pay this, and then they wrote me a letter back saying that they got the email, but responses via email cannot be actually taken in, and so therefore they're now writing me to tell me that this is no good and I still have to pay.
To this regard, I got a message, a secure message, only after asking them if they could do that because they were offering me to send me a letter, and I'm like, no, can't you send me an email? And that isn't like via direct mail, so it's in a secure system that I have to log on to, telling me that they send a fax to my bank. And that is like a 2-day-old message. It's like, what is happening? Like, I thought they were like, I didn't know how to respond to that. I'm like, but so all this happens. So there's a ton of stuff where you feel like, my God, what is happening? Why, like, so things aren't working out. Things are taking too long as a startup. Like, how are we going to pay next month rent? All that kind of stuff. So all this stuff is happening. How do you stay not just positive, but have a good time? So that's the kind of things, like not just in a bigger picture, like you can get very philosophical and like fight the right things that you want to do and all that blah, blah, blah. And that's a discussion we can definitely have. But I want to get into like, what kind of things do you do to kind of like keep it exciting in the boardroom?
Yeah.
On a day-to-day basis. So what are kind of like the things that motivate you to keep you like not just motivated, but keep you happy? Where you're like, I'm looking. So I'll give you an example.
Yeah, when times get hard, for example, you have some really complicated task or to solve right, and you don't get forward and you don't get it. Most of the times, I switch to smaller tasks. Just to get stuff done. And
but does that make you happy? Like, do you really like have a laugh and really get excited about it?
No, excited. It's not exciting, but I think then it started to make fun again, I would say, right?
It's more a content chuckle.
Yeah. Like this.
Well done.
Yeah, and exciting.
Excellent.
Yeah, exciting. I don't have the expectation that I'm always excited, very excited at work, right? I just want to be, happy by myself and with my work, but excited. So I'm get excited maybe when we meet each other on events, for example. That's the highlight, I would say, in my job, or when I deploy a cool feature which you ask for a long time, for example. But I think the day to day, it's not that exciting. But it's also not. It's also not misery or something like that, right? It's just.
It just is
waking up every day and try to get things done, right? And when everything works out, then maybe I'm excited. But so most of the time,
I do get excited by various wins. Be it a nice feature that gets deployed, or a really good strategy session that we have. I also really enjoy, so this is specific to the three of us, I also really enjoy the fact that we usually run over time in our meetings because we get distracted and don't just go through the list of stuff that we need to do. I don't always enjoy the fact that we run over, because sometimes I have follow-up meetings and then it gets a little tricky. But when there is time, when there is no time constraint for me, I really enjoy the fact that we manage to kind of get slightly distracted and then one of us kind of pulls us back in. So we allow ourselves this little bit of meandering, while still staying on track in general. And I think that's really important to not get totally bogged down in stuff. And that is not to say, I mean, we've had, I don't know, week-long strategy sessions where we've just worked, right? Or actually hands-on sessions where we, I don't know, came up with a new website or a new design or something else that was really tangible in that moment. I think the fact that we managed to kind of dynamically have all of that, a little bit of fun and a little bit of distraction and a clear view of where we want to get to. You know, not to beat my own drum here too much, but this whole notion of we know where we want to get to and what our North Star is and what we want to deliver to the world, that's really important. And if you have no clarity on that, you'll get distracted and you'll never know when to land back on your track.
Well, you might not even know when you get distracted, right? Because
Right.
if you have your North Star, then it doesn't matter if you get distracted because you know where you want to go. And then you know that you're getting distracted now and doing something off topic, right? If you don't know where you're going, then nothing and everything feels like you're getting off topic.
And then you feels like you're being you're occupied.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've had a successful day because you were busy for 8 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit
Like,
done.
asses and
That's
seats.
the problem.
Asses
exactly.
and seats. That, but so valid point. So I for me, it's like those meetings, like trying to enjoy those meetings and look forward to them. There's times where I feel like, oh my God, I'm tired. I don't want to go. And now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, I kind of figured it out that it's like May is a busy time, September is a busy time, and then the rest I can really choose if I need to go or not. And every now and then I decide not to. So it's kind of like now in 2 months, and then it becomes very easy to manage. You know, it's going to be busy for a little bit, and then it's better. So and then with that, I try to enjoy those events really. Like I'm like now IBC coming up is something where I'm really excited for, and just go there with an open mind to kind of like see what's happening, just to get new input. So like doing something outside what I usually do, because that kind of like motivates me and keeps me happy. Another thing is I enjoy like and I try to incorporate that in my day-to-day life, like watching those like funny memes about like the software and startup industry and the VC industry, and then kind of like having fun with that, like, you know, taking a piss out of what we do in our industry, and then kind of like posting that as kind of like, you know, well, so this is fun. Another fun thing, and I think that not just saying because we're in the podcast industry, doing this podcast is where we kind of like have a chance to just, you know, talk about things that are, you know, related to what we do, but also give us the time and the space to kind of like be a bit more out there. It's a lot of like, it's fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoy this.
Yes, this is total fun and very enjoyable, and at the same time, it's QA testing for our own product.
Yeah,
How awesome is
Yeah.
that? How awesome is that?
exactly. And so those are kind of like the things to kind of like.
Yeah. So one thing, what I observed on my end, what really stopped me having fun at work or being exciting at work is taking everything or most of the things too seriously. So that's something I really try to work on, and I did it really. So in the last 20 years, so since I started my career, I was really trying to and really focused on doing things good, right? And I was super, how should I say? I was really when something went wrong, or when I thought, okay, I can get better, or I could done it better, then I was really, I felt not good. Let's say it like this, and and I think that's
So kind
so
of like
I asking
perfectionism.
myself, is it the secret of success, for example, right? Giving
Lebe geht weiter.
Huh?
Lebe geht weiter.
Lebe geht weiter. Yeah.
That's the secret to balanced success. It really is. You have to know when to celebrate your wins and when to take a loss, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And that most of the time, the loss, it doesn't even matter.
right?
It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It's just like I early on realized what I do, like if what I do doesn't happen tomorrow, like if my industry doesn't exist tomorrow, it's completely fine. Life goes
Yeah.
on. Life goes on. Like it's we're not like operating on an open heart. It's nobody's gonna die if something goes wrong. Not like nothing is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Somebody might have a bad audio experience, or the other things that I was doing. Like you can kind of like turn it into like that's why I always hated about every like the startup saying like we're gonna revolutionize. Like you're not revolutionizing like anything. It's like like don't like whatever.
But at the same time, I do think it's important to honestly and authentically believe in that North Star that you're talking about, right?
I
And to make
100%
sure that
believe
it's
in what
not
I do.
just bullshit.
It's just like there's two sides to that. Like I can like I wouldn't spend my in this world where we live in. I can make money and be successful in with this, and I enjoy this, and I really like it, and it's a lot of fun. And I'm happy that I can do this, and I'm happy that I have this privilege of doing this and making that a job. And to me, a job never felt like this is an occupation or I have to do this. To me, it's always been, I see this as a game. Always. That's why I don't take it super seriously. Because if I don't do this tomorrow, I'll do something else.
Yeah,
And
but at the same time,
I want to win
you're.
this game.
I was
I
just
want
going
to
to
win
say
this
you
game. I
want to
want to
win,
win this game.
right?
Exactly. I want to win this game. So
So it's a
to
game,
me,
but
it
it's a
sounds
game.
strange, but playing a football match on a Sunday and what I do as a day-to-day job don't feel different to me. So my job feels like a hobby because it's so much fun. That's when people are like, "Aren't you stressed?" I'm like, "No, look at my fitness tracker. It just says like I'm super relaxed, like even in stressful times." Like because I know like what's going to happen. Like people are going to be like, "I don't like you." Yeah, that's fine. Like I can live with that. Like if this won't work out, then it won't work out. Then it's fine. We're all going to continue to live on. We got to do something else. But that doesn't mean like I don't take this seriously. This is a game that I want to win.
Exactly.
But if I
Exactly.
lose this, is this gonna really terribly affect my persona, my psyche? Probably not.
No, exactly. There's a difference in being overly serious versus being competitive, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We are definitely competitive. We want to win these games. Absolutely. Every time. And at the same time, yes, we're not deadly serious.
Like it's weird to people that are like, I'm having fun.
How's our pickleball league going, by the way?
What pickleball league?
Yeah, exactly. The one we started, and then didn't you start a pickleball league?
I did. Like I'm not a league, but I'm like a team, a department, and that's still running. But for example, like that. So that kind of stuff. So to me, that really helps in that mindset of like I want to win this game, but it's still a game that and I'm here by choice, not by force. Nobody's holding me here. So those kind of realizations on a day-to-day basis, and then kind of like mixing it up, being like, I can do fun stuff because it's not super serious what I do, but
absolutely.
But then,
this is the same thing that draws me to, so when we meet in Amsterdam for IBC, the next day I'm staying on and I'm going to swing by my friends at Aristides Guitars. Yes, they build wonderful guitars for me and for many other people, but they're also a really fun bunch and a bunch of people who choose to be there, who want to be there, and who have a ton of fun at work.
And then they make great products, right? Because they're fun.
Exactly.
Like for them, it's fun to be there,
right.
Right? Yeah.
Exactly right. So they take exceptional pride in their products. They take exceptional pride in their service to each of their customers, no matter how lowly that customer might be, or how, just first single guitar, basic specs type of thing. And Yeah, you wander onto their lot at any given point in time, and the CEO might be in the backyard just kicking a football with some of his colleagues while taking a break. Totally normal. I've seen that 3 times at least
Oh my
when I
God, that
visited
guy's
them
not
over the
working.
years.
That company's in shambles.
Exactly. He's not working in that moment, but the company is definitely not in shambles, right? Uh, they invite people, customers, interested folks over. They force them to hang out and have a ton of fun and go sing karaoke with them.
And you know what the funny thing is, that mindset of like we can have fun at work and we enjoy what we do,
Mhm.
that came out of Silicon Valley, right? Like that
Yeah.
mindset of like we're gonna like that
Yeah.
idea of like we're gonna change the world, that
Mhm.
belief
Mhm.
to really do that. I admire that. But the problem with that bunch, and we all saw them last week in Washington, and I thought I was AI. I thought it was AI. I like so it's guys in suits now sucking up to politics, and just the foosball table and the bouncy like what is it, like the balls that you can like kind of jump in, that like pool of
The
plastic
Yeah.
balls.
Yeah.
Those are kind of like relic from a time long gone, because they're now like corporates, and they like and it's and I think that meeting that we saw in Washington, where they all that like it's the end of those companies. They are the next ones that are going to disappear, because
yeah.
they don't seem like they love what they're doing. Because they now believe that they are essential to what is happening in the world.
Well, and to be fair, in some cases, they are these
No,
days,
they're
right?
not.
But
They're not, because if it's
some technology is absolutely. But
which one?
that said,
Google?
I think the more important part here is that I just heard you commit to our headquarter having a ball bath.
No, it's just like
Did I hear that
they
right?
like but that was kind of like a symbol, right? That they kind of
It's fun. Have you
we
ever jumped into one of those
yes, it's
things?
fun.
Yeah,
And then they had the
exactly.
foosball table, but then it kind of like turned in a business world where it's kind of like we have this, but at the same time, if we see somebody standing there,
Uh-huh.
we're gonna
Yeah,
talk about that guy, because that guy
yeah,
is not
exactly.
working, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, so I rather have not have this, and then have somebody play football outside and just do it,
Mhm.
instead of just putting this kind of like artifact there to kind of like, yeah, we're a fun bunch, and it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, but we're really not, because
Exactly,
we are
which brings us
we're all
back to
shareholder value.
whatever you say, whatever you do, please mean it, you know?
Yeah,
Please be authentic about it.
yeah.
And if your only purpose in life is, I don't know, scamming people out of $10 more and just making money, I guess that's okay too if you choose to want to do that. I remember there was a German company actually who approached me, uh, asked for a meeting. They were visiting New York, and so I said, "Sure, let's meet. Let's have a conversation." And they wanted to know if I could help them with forward momentum. And what they were doing was basically just looking and analyzing what was selling well on Amazon and in other stores, and then they called up their guys in China and produced that same stuff for lowest prices, relatively low quality, but in a slightly upscale design aimed at the typical German mindset of if it's a little more expensive, it'll be better. And so they made a ton of money, but they didn't do anything good in the world. And they had clearly no North Star to be found other than let's make more money.
Yeah, well, you know.
And that's fine, but they didn't really need me. So I declined to work with them. That was just, that didn't make any sense.
And exactly, and that is fine too. And then for there is a need for different types. So we're in the building phase. But if I was working, and people kind of have different personalities, right? So if I was working, for example, in a large organization, um, where it's like we're not trying to bring fun back. Like it's about like if I have fun, but then it's my role to kind of like be efficient and cut costs. I'm like, let's get rid of that foosball table and kind of like get everybody to kind of like working hour longer and have more productive output. That is also a role, and that is also fine. Like I said, you need and that brings us back and kind of like wraps up the episode. Some people, they see like, I want to work in the printing industry. I want to do that for 20 years. I want that stability. I want to know that I can do that in 20 years. I enjoy this because it kind of like whatever it is. And the biggest question is like, have you just spent like 2 to 5 minutes on like, hey, is this really what I want to do? And if it's not what I want, like if it's what I want to do, awesome. If it's not what I want to do, then spend half an hour on like, what do I want to do? And then try to get there. It's not like do it right now. It's not going to be easy. Probably it's going to be tough because like you hear too much people saying like, well, how would I change? How like, yeah, nobody said it's going to be easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's also not that hard. I mean,
exactly.
Just to wrap this up and to really give a positive outlook on this, all of the Western world, Europe, the US, even into Latin America, everybody is missing qualified and motivated people. Everybody is looking for good people to work for them or with them. And so if you are motivated by something in some way, shape, or form, and your current workplace is not it, packing up and finding something else is not a problem per se. There are a couple of things to consider, obviously, and depending on your personal situation, you might have to find something else first before you pack up there. All fine and good. I think the one thing to consider, though, is mobility. And that is this notion that I deserve another equally fun and well-paying job in my immediate commute vicinity.
Well, I just built a house. Well, then sell that house. It's like, it's your decision. Like, why can't I just live where I work? Well, I don't know. That's, I don't live in the city where I work. Like, do you think I want to live in necessarily Borken where I live now? Like, if I could have the same life with all my family, all my people, like with a house and garden in the middle of Manhattan, I would opt for that 100%. But it's not possible.
House and garden in the middle of Manhattan, kind of tricky,
Exactly. So it's like nobody said that. Nobody said that I wish you could have this.
Now,
but
Forest Hills Gardens is a nice option.
100%, 100%. But then and then make your choices. Do something. Have fun at work. Like have fun at your job. Like have a little.
Choose to have fun.
Yeah. Be happy, have a little fun. And that's kind of like the message. And so, guys, that was a lot of fun for me. I'm super happy. It's late. The next episode I'm gonna do from my spinning bike that I bought because that makes me a little happy. So I'm gonna do that, and then we can go back into talking about sports or anything else once I become that little like fitness bunny that I'm ought to be.
That you're always meant to be. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys. Before we wrap up, songs you listen to.
Song for Lovers, Bachelors of Science.
Ooh.
No. A bit of drum and bass.
Okay. Wow, you're going crazy, man. Andreas?
Straight Out of Nowhere by the H-Blocks.
Nice.
What a fun new tune, man.
What a fun new tune. And thanks to them, we're going to go to Wacken next year. Amazing.
That's right.
Thanks to them. Thank you, Henning, for that. It's going to be amazing. And I introduced my kids to Maya Hawthorne. Maybe so, maybe no. Oh, that's for
a good
the
song.
Lovers. Exactly. That's what I introduced my kids to. And there's so much to talk about. I switched from I killed my Spotify account and moved over to Amazon.
Yeah, we're going to
Music.
talk about that another day.
Exactly.
That's too much
Bye, guys.
for today.
Bye. Bye.